Hey, welcome to Marriage Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday. How you doing, girlfriend?
I am doing well. It is Monday, everybody. It
Yes, it
is
is.
Monday.
You look all refreshed and everything. I guess because we even took a nap today and everything else. We had a busy day today.
We're very busy, very
Yeah.
busy, but
You know,
we're
you you
thankful. What'd
you
you
were
say?
pretty pink earlier. Now you are. What's a good word that goes with yellow? Um,
Mellow yellow. I'm
okay,
all
no, I like that. I like that.
mellow yellow. And yellow is known as a warming and welcoming color, friendship type of color. So that's
Yeah,
what I'm wearing
good. Well, you
today.
all that and more. Matter of fact, you the bag of chips with some hot sauce on it.
Well, I'm glad you like it. You're the one that I love. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah,
But yes, it's been a busy day. I'm glad to be back in the seat, in the hot seat, I guess we call it, because last week we didn't do Marriage Monday because I was with the ladies, a lot of ladies from our church, and it was so awesome. I'm so refreshed, but we came back and hit the ground running because this is what
good.
we do. We're built for this. So, welcome to Marriage Monday. I'm glad to be back with you, baby.
Hey,
Uh,
glad you're back. Yeah, I miss you while you're gone.
I
And
missed you. Let me say this, as you always say, even being in the cabin with my mom and enjoying her, and then she's doing her own thing, everybody doing their own thing from time to time. I was like, oh, this is not for me. That I can't spend time alone by myself, but then being in the bed without you, oh, and yeah, when we're away from each other, I miss that. The Bible talks about two being together. So me and you, we're built for each other. So
very true. Very, very true. We complement each other, I tell you. But look, we got an exciting show tonight, and we only have, excuse me, we only have about what 20 something minutes to go, and we've already talked up sometime. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. Can we do that?
well, before we do that, we want to welcome everybody again. Welcome to Marriage Monday. We pray you've been enjoying it. If you're new to Marriage Monday, welcome. And then if you are a repeat viewer, we welcome you back and thank you for hanging out with us because we love this is what we do. We love what we do.
Sure.
41 years of marriage. We're packing that and from week to week into 30 minutes and just delving out different topics that God places on our heart. But at the end of it, we're going to allow you an opportunity to put some of the ideas that you have in. Not that we've run out of content, but just to see where we are. But tonight's going to really set fire for some things. But go ahead and take a moment. We're going to give you about 5 seconds, 10 seconds to like and share. I'm going to pull up a couple of notes that I already have. Bishop, I know he's already ready. But tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about fidelity. And we'll talk more about that fidelity. So I know that producer will be able to put that in the chat in the comments, and then like and share and let someone know that Marriage Monday is on. This is our edition of May 12th, 2025. So yeah, we're dating this, so we'll know we can earmark where we were at this moment. You can actually, mark yourself at this moment. I remember a lot of times where I can say, looking at a picture or looking at some notes, I was like, what was I thinking back then? So this will allow you to date and say, okay, 30 days ago, a week ago, or a year ago this time, this is where I was or we were in our marriage, and this is what we're doing. So again, go ahead and like and share. I think that's been about 10 seconds. So we're gonna open it up. Ready, baby?
Yes, I'm ready, girlfriend. Let's do it.
Okay. Let's do this. All right. So again, we said tonight's topic is fidelity. And baby, when we were talking about this, when we began to talk about what we talk about tonight, um, about 2 weeks now, God has just been dealing with us about fidelity. And so we chose not to say infidelity because we believe that when we show you what you should be doing and what you ought to be doing, that anything outside of that, you're not going to do. So in a marriage, we know that a couple of weeks ago and months back that we talked about, communications and things like that. But we want to delve into it in a different way when it talks about fidelity. When I think about fidelity, I really think about like it's just me and you and connecting and making sure that there are no other outside influences, let's put it like that, that are uh, negatively affecting or influencing what you and I have made a commitment with our marriage vows to agree to. So we're not going outside that boundaries. Is that good enough for everybody? Does that make that clear? Anything outside of those marriage vows is off limits, and you know that the ring is a symbol. Baby, can you talk about the ring when you're doing marriage ceremonies? And just for note for everybody, we do not marry people. We perform ceremonies. You're
That's good.
marrying each
That's
other.
good.
We're already married. So they say he married us. No, he joined y'all together in holy matrimony. So can you talk about the symbol and symbolic of the ring?
Well, whenever we do a ceremony, the ring is vitally important because a ring is an outward symbol of something that has happened between two people. It's also a symbol of, excuse me, to the world, that hands off, that person is already taken. It's an outward symbol. It's round because it represents eternity. And in a lot of cases, you look at the ring for the lady, a lot of time it have diamonds on it and so forth. And you've heard people say diamond is a lump of coal that's made good under pressure. So while you're going around into this eternity, if you notice that the ring is round because there's no way of escaping out of it. It's round because it's intended for you to be together forever. And so when that ring is put on that other person's hand, you didn't just, in a lot of cases, you didn't just go to the store, or a person just didn't go to the store and just pick something out. They picked out something that was special because it represented something that they wanted their mate to wear for the eternity of that relationship. If I can just go a little bit further, one of the things we do when we do our marital ceremonies, with the ring representing eternity, a lot of times we'll do what's called a covenant, a salt covenant or a sand covenant or something of that nature, which means that the only way you can get out of that relationship is you got to take your salt or your sand back. And so what we're advocating, okay, first off, a man and a woman. Okay. The second thing when it comes to that, you said no outside interference. We can't say that S word that begins with X because we'll get cut off. But when we talk about this thing called fidelity, that ring is symbolizing that I'm making a determination that what's going to happen between us is going to be between us and no more.
That's good. And I love when you brought up, and I was hoping you did, and you did bring up that salt covenant or the sand covenant. Many times in some ceremonies that we have done, they use different colors so you can actually see the colors. They'll use a purple and a red or something like that. When they pour it in, you can clearly see when it blends in. Can you imagine? This is what it's like, people of God, or people that are watching. It's like, we've gone to the beach several times. Anyone that's gone to the beach, that sand, when you shower or you try and bathe, when you're home or you're in your hotel room or whatever, and you're trying to shower, that sand never. It seems like it's endless. You have to shower for about an hour to actually feel that all the grit and grime, and then under your nail bed, there's still going to be something. So that residue of whatever that sand covenant has taken place is still there. So if you think you're uh, meticulous enough to pick through all of that and then still be satisfied that your marriage should be dissolved, then you're pretty, you are excellent. And that's what it's all about, that it's making it impossible in the sense of doing all the work that you can to make sure that you stay in your marriage. So this is what we're here about tonight, to make sure that you're doing your part. So perhaps somebody's watching and your spouse is not on here tonight, and you're saying, oh, I wish my boo could hear this, or Miss Bay could hear this, or whatever you say, your husband or your wife you call, but making sure that you do all that you can. I know that it takes two, but there's something that sometimes when lust or something has distracted or come in to infiltrate or to penetrate the vows of that marriage, it's difficult for one person. Like, you're trying to shake that person, like, come on out of this, like, snap out of it, baby. If you're husband or wife is going the other way, or is drawing away from you, you want to just slap them on their face if you could, if that were very possible, to help snap them out. But let me tell you what, when things like that happen, that is opposite of fidelity, opposite of anything opposite of those marriage vows, you want to be able to realize that it's a spirit. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against uh, principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. And so when you're dealing with that, it has to be done in prayer. And then, of course, baby, we're always available for counseling, or your local pastor, wherever you are. And then we are counselor, licensed counselor, someone that's a trusted source, just as we are, to be able to help navigate you through these tough times. And what we prefer to do, we always prefer to have both the husband and wife. Even if there's a little bit of resistance, we're able to help talk them through that if they're willing to meet with us. So that's what we want to offer on tonight. So thank you for sharing that. That was very, very, very enlightening for us, because that ring ceremony, when we make those exchanges of rings with those couples, we always see a positive result. Did you have anything else you were gonna say,
Yeah, I
Ted?
do. I want to say this too. God made us a tripartite being,
Okay.
and being that we are tripartite beings, He first made us spirit. The Bible says that we are created in the image of God. And we know that God is a spirit. Then in Genesis chapter 2, he formed man from the dust of the ground. Then he breathed into man the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So that means we're spirit in chapter 1. In chapter 2, we get a body, but then we possess our soul. What we learned from our mentors is that our soul is our mind, our will, our intellect, our emotions, our imaginations. So when we talk about fidelity, and I'm giving myself to you, um, that means that I'm giving everything about me, and specifically in my soulish realm. You have to possess that. I have to possess yours, because there's a word that goes with fidelity. It really didn't go with it, but it's something that some people have, and I think all of us do to a certain extent. But it's called fantasy. Fantasies of something that should happen between the husband and the wife. Whatever your fantasy is, if you're swinging from the chandeliers, it should be swinging with your wife, or if you're and your husband. Let me say it that way. If you're doing all these things and all this kind of stuff, it's never designed for three people or three persons or four persons or whatever that's going on, or whatever this. Sometimes your fantasies can be wicked. Okay, and the fidelity turns into something with that N in front of it that we don't necessarily want to mention tonight. And so it's critical that we understand that marriage comes from God. And because marriage comes from God, it was instituted by God. He said that the man and the woman shall become one flesh. Well, how you become one flesh, man? You got to be stuck together, if you understand what I'm saying, to be one flesh. But in that being stuck together as one flesh, something in your soulish realm has to unite with that person that's your husband or your wife, so that it can be in the how can I say it? It can be totally embraced by what God has intended for us to be. So I want us to really understand that God don't have a problem with your fidelity within the marriage. Let me just say it that way. He didn't have a problem with it. And so don't listen to stupid people. I mean, I shouldn't have said it that way. Don't, that says, it's always got to be a missionary, that you got to be a missionary. Let me just say it that way, because you won't get blocked again. Or you got to do this, or you got to do that. No, that's between. The Bible says that marriage is undefiled. That marriage is hope. I just said, and the bed.
Honorable in all, and the bed is
Yeah,
without limits. It's without limits.
exactly. Whatever you and your spouse agree upon as being holy, come on, get that preacher out of your bedroom. Get that. And when I say that, you look. Yeah, get that person who is having that opinion about what's going on in your fidelity out of your bedroom, and make sure that it's about you and your wife or your husband.
That's really good. We're about to go into a different segment of what we're talking about with fidelity. I want to go over our vows. And these vows that we're about to, I'm gonna read some of it, just some excerpts. But these are things that everyone did some vows. I want the viewers to be able to put in, did you do traditional vows or did you write your own? While I'm getting my notes together, just put in the comments whether you wrote your own, y'all exchanged your own vows, you wrote your own, or you did traditional vows, which were what I'm about to read basically have been going on for centuries. When it
Let me
comes
say
to
this. Let me say this real quick. When we performing a wedding ceremony, some vows we're not going to allow you to say because if it's crazy,
it's true.
some people got some stuff that just not
That's
right.
that's
So
true.
we're not going to participate in it. We're
Yes.
talking about traditional vows or vows that can be construed as a love relationship towards the other person under the auspices of God.
Yes, and the thing is that I'm asking them too also if they wrote their own or
That's what
during your marriage, did you write your own or did you allow the uh, officiant to be able to do that? We see some comments that are coming in. All right, so I'm going to take this moment to. Oh, can you read some of them off? Let me see.
one says traditional. Uh,
Yes.
what is this? Me what? I have to put my glasses on for that one. Oh Lord Jesus. See, we exchange traditional vows. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I
Do we
just
have
feel
a
like a
lot of people?
chipmunk when I got that close to the screen, man.
Okay. Thank y'all for sharing. They're still coming in. They're still coming in. And so, as we'll be able to see a lot of those, it says, I, with your name, take thee to take, be my wedded and wife or husband, to have and to hold from this day forward for better or worse. And we know we
Mm,
say better or better, but there are some challenging times that come about in marriages. But just for the sake of what we're talking about, the fidelity, these are words, and you can, you know what? It would be good for those that wrote your own vows, if you still have that sheet of paper or uh that verbiage that you had, to go back over there and review it. Even for those that did the traditional vows, look up that and begin to review and to go over that to see where you kind of grade yourself where you are.
that's good.
Starting out, you probably were a 100 or an A or A plus or A minus or whatever. Where are you are now? And then discuss that with your spouse. Discuss that with your husband or your wife, and to find out like, oh, we're here. We're doing good here. We're not doing so good here. But let me continue just a little bit. And it says, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, and we say for richer, but there's some times when there's some challenges that come, and it says for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health. We know that some health challenges come about, to love and to cherish till death do us part. And so that's just the first part of it when we begin to do the traditional vows. But when you think about, babe, when we're talking about better or worse, richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, all those things happen in life. There's some highs and lows. I remember, and some other people might remember this. We've talked about it. We've lived it in the sense where we've lived in a mobile home trailer when we first got married, and then where we live now, that was progressional, but we were willing to tough it out. There are two things I want to say when we're talking about fidelity. I want you to keep in mind that there is a physical fidelity, and there is a mental fidelity. Some people say, well, I'm not being um in an infidel when it
Mhm.
comes to sleeping around or anything, but your mind is not there. Your mind
That's
has
good.
to be
That's very good.
engaged. Your
That's good.
mind has to be engaged. A lot of times, Bishop has done me like this. He said, where's your mind? And he'll, I
Yeah.
could be doing anything, not thinking about anyone else. And that's, not necessarily. I'm just saying I'm not thinking about anybody else, but where's your mind? I need your mind here with me. I mean, maybe thinking about the child care. I may be thinking about the staging business. I'll be thinking about ministry, thinking about family. It could be anything. But when we're together, you're always wanting like to engage with you. And you are the best listener for me, because I know I have the gift of gab. Like I'm gabbing now, but I'm sharing, but I like to believe that I'm saying something that's gonna help us and then help the people that are viewing and that will
But
view this broadcast.
we had a, a former pastor used to say, you got to put your whole self in.
Gotta put
And
your
he used
whole
to say
self
that
in.
all the time. You got to put your whole self in. You can't just be willy nilly in it. You got to put your whole self in. Somebody wrote a song years ago, Starlight Spinner, some one of them old groups, something about your mind is on the other side of town or something like that. I don't want y'all to go too far back, but your body is here, but your mind is on the other side of town.
I
It's your,
never heard that.
you never heard that
I
before?
never.
That's because you've
Anybody
been
ever
saved a
heard
long
that?
time.
I never heard
I've
it.
been saved a
I
long
have
time
never
too.
heard that one. But I get your point. We get
Yeah,
your point. We
yeah,
get. I get the point.
yeah.
Yeah, it has to be engaged. And go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say that it's a total engagement. It's a you as an individual. You have to uh, in this fidelity thing. You have to it's got to embody all of you, and
Mhm.
not just a part of you. Or because if so, you're just going to be going through the motions, and just going through the motions is not good. Because if you start that way, um, let me just say it that way. I don't want to go into to where I want to go right there, but it's about fidelity. It's about putting your whole self into what you're doing at the time.
Well, let me say this. We've been married 41 years, and the first 17, y'all, 17 years, I was a stay-at-home wife and mother. And out of those things, now listen, y'all, I was addicted. I became addicted to soap operas. Yes, I did. And watching and fantasizing of a life that financially we were not there, and looking at the different aspects of Jesse and Angie and all of them, all my
Was
children.
that As the World Turned? What was that? Was it As the World Turned?
No, I didn't watch anything. It had to be ABC. Everything
Oh,
was ABC except I didn't watch Young and Restless, things like that,
okay,
NBC
okay.
and CBS, but I was ABC girl. And not glorifying any of it, but I was addicted to soap operas. But the thing about it is that I was home all day and stay-at-home mom, and DeAndre was our first. And then subsequently, I think I worked maybe out of that 17 years, probably 2.5 years somewhere doing some small things and one a longer length. But the point I'm making is that when you came home, especially with it was just DeAndre for those first 4 years of our marriage, and I'm at home. I remember being at Moody Air Force Base, and I'm sitting home. I'm making watching TV. And but the goal, what I'm saying is that when you came home, I will wanted your attention. I wanted your full attention. And you did give that. And one of the things that you did, and we talk about it often, that you always made me a priority. And I talk, and had to learn over the years that I can just be talking, talking, talking. And I know that you're trying to stay, you're human. And sometimes too much talking and your eyes kind of roll back to the back of your
Yeah,
head, not
my ears,
intentionally.
my ears are bleeding and everything. Right? It's ridiculous.
It wasn't bleeding. But what I'm saying, he made himself available to me to be able to talk so that I would not end up like Eve. Wherever Adam was, he was going throughout the cool of the day and left her to have conversation
That's
with
good. That's
with
real good.
Satan, with the serpent. You, on the other hand, I'm not gonna. I really can't say. We talked about it, and just being transparent, from the military to corporate to the university, the college that you worked for. All that was good, and you just stayed with me. I never had to be concerned that where your mind was somewhere else, in
Well,
that
but
regard. And then you gifted
that's
me that, and you still gift me that.
important. But that's important though, because if I can't give you my mind or my communication or my time, um, a lot of times, if I just talk to the brothers for a minute, a lot of times we just want to, hop into the bed and so forth and so on, not
Oh,
understanding
uh,
that
come
um,
back and see it,
the
God.
communication aspect that we're having is a setup and a build-up for something greater, if I can just say it that way. So it's important that you allow them to talk. But let me just say this. You say, well, I'm not a talker. I'm not a listener. Yes, you are. There's certain things, you know, I would give my brothers if I could at this time. There are certain questions like, well, what do you mean? Where'd you get that from? Who did that? Um, we call them open-ended questions. Open-ended questions is where you ask a question that's not a yes or no question. So when I would come home and yeah, I'm dog tired, and you say, yeah, they did this. I'm like, well, what happened? Why did it happen? Tell me more about it.
Yeah.
And believe me, she told me about it, right? But when it came time for later on for the uniting of the marriage, if you will, um, we had no problem because it was a setup move. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but but I mean, it's so important because um, one or the other in the relationship is going to be the talker. Okay, and whoever that person is, a lot of times it's ladies, but it's not always that way. You got to use words that allow that other person to be themselves. And if I know I'm married to you and you're a talker, I want you talking. As a matter of fact, you hear me say, when she starts talking and she stops singing, we got problems because she ain't saying nothing to me. And so I
But
know I got to plow the field over there to try to get her back on point so that she can start talking to me again.
but watch this. I remember one time you told someone that they said my wife always talking during the game. That's when she want to talk during the game. Well, you better get over there in the kitchen or wherever she is so she can get all that talking out. Then when the game comes on, all the questions and all all
Right.
the information that she needs is done so you can enjoy the game. If it's
Watch this. If one spouse is not communicating with the other spouse, whether it's male or female, just like in the illustration you gave about Eve earlier, uh, somebody else is willing to talk to them. Okay. And we want to make sure we keep that booger at bay and don't allow that person into the relationship. So your communication aspect of it with your spouse has a lot to do with the fidelity within your relationship. And so you want them to communicate. You want to look, I've never had to ask you what was on your mind. The only time I have to ask you what's on your mind is when you stop talking. And I'm like, man, I got to work now. I got to get this thing. I got to get it right. I got to know what's going on with it so that I can really feel what's going on within the relationship. And once I get that out the way, then everything else kind of follows in place.
But baby, when I think when we're talking, I don't know what the minds of the people are thinking, but this just came to me that some people may be saying, well, why does it seem like it's one-sided? And it's really not one-sided. Well, let me just say it like this: every marriage is different, but ours, this has worked. And what you're doing is tapping into where I am, so you get the overflow of whatever
That's correct.
I'm thinking, whatever you've poured into me, you get the overflow of that. You get this.
Mhm.
Oh, I was about to say it. You get the actual with the S. You get the time. You get you get everything. Um,
The
I was
intimacy,
about
yeah.
to show said S word, and I know it's not always about the S word,
Mhm.
the actual, but
But what brings about the in this word that we don't want to use is the fact that um, I need to know what's inside of you. You hear people say intimacy is
yes,
intimacy. You know,
yes.
I want to know what's on the inside. I want to know what you're saying. I want to know what you're going through. I want to know what the children are doing, even if I don't want to know it. Okay, it's important um, so that we can tackle these things together.
Yeah.
And I
Let me
want to say, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and I don't mean to be brash when I say even if I don't want to know it. I'm not talking about from that perspective. I'm saying sometimes I may want my own time, but the time that we have together is something that we said is going to be for a lifetime. So if I got to put the game on hold, okay, uh, I'm not going to rush you. All right, come on, tell me now, tell me now, tell me, hey, the game, come on, you got 5 minutes, tell me.
I
I'm
did
not going to
probably
do
put it out like that,
it.
but
Yeah,
that's not what I meant.
no, no, no.
Thank you for clarifying it.
Thank you. I'm here to help you now. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
But I was just gonna say, I know our time went so fast. We try to keep it under 30 minutes. But let me say this. Um, I think that sometimes when we don't engage with each other to produce a positive marriage outcome, no one else should be in your ear. You as a husband or you as a wife, no one should have access to you. Don't give anyone more access to your ear, to your emotions, to your your desires than your spouse. Whatever energy, whatever uh time, whatever finances, what you're doing, if you got to cheat or you got to hide to do it, then you know it's wrong. If it
Okay.
feels wrong, stop it. Don't do it. Don't press that button. Don't send that text. Don't do that. Send that text, that same passionate text that the enemy's trying to lure you off outside of your marriage. Send it to your wife. Send it to your husband. You know, do that. There should be no one that this is how you're gonna um cut off at the neck, cut the enemy off at the neck, cut it off at the root, pluck it up by the root, is
Okay.
to not do anything outside of what these vows that you took, those vows that you recited. And I know that things change, bodies change, people change. You've been through some financial things, you've been through some um, relationship challenges, you've been through some different things, but you're able to get through it. You can get through this. If and anything that maybe somebody's saying, I'm not going through anything, this will help you, hopefully with the fidelity to help you. We didn't want to use the word infidelity, because when we show you and we teach you and we're pouring into you what you should be doing, then we know that you're not going to, or you should know, you're going to hear. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. We're spitting out some wisdom for you to help you to pull up out of that so that you can not have to live a life of regret. Let me tell you what, the grass is not always greener on the other side. Water where you are, plant, pluck up, re-fertilize, um, work on, till the ground where you are, make it new. Do something different to introduce something. We haven't done this in a while. We haven't played cards in a while. We haven't played Uno in a while. We haven't just sat outside. Do a picnic in the backyard. If you're in an apartment complex, get in the backyard on the patio, get you a crate or something and get you some a wine glass and some wine and cheese. And that's, if that's all you can afford, do something that would impromptu or planned, to help bring about a freshness, a renewal in your marriage. So that's all I have. I mean, I have so much more, but we want to impart that to you so that you're blessed by your marriage and blessing your marriage, no matter how long you've been married.
Look, our time is gone, and I like what you
No.
said. Water your own side. Don't mess with that artificial turf stuff over there. Um, Look, because everything that looks real is not real. So, hey, our time is gone, girlfriend.
It is. My goodness. We want to just say we love y'all and want you to join us next week. We'll be back next week. We do have something that's coming up. Although we're not sponsoring it, we are a part of it. So if you know anyone, or if you're in the Jacksonville area, go on our Facebook page and you'll see something that we're tagged in. And that's where we're going to be on a Friday and a Saturday. I believe that's June 20th and 21st, and we're excited about that. So if you want to fly in, if you know someone that's in the area and are willing to do, it's going to be a great Friday night and Saturday. All the details are in there. We don't have all the details. We're just a participant. But we definitely want to help build, because we know what we have is good. We know the information is good. It's going to be a great time of games, fun, fellowship, and some impartation. So until next week, we will see y'all then.
I'll see you in a minute. Bye bye.
Bye bye, y'all.